The tuna fishery in South Africa is a pole and line fishery. So the fishermen use traditional bamboo poles. It's one hook, one line, one fish at a time. There is no bycatch. It is the most sustainable way of catching fish. There's no damage to the surrounding environment. It really is a beautiful art.
It's become incredibly evident that we need to be a little bit more aware of what we are doing in the oceans. I mean, we're harvesting a living animal. We need to treat it with the utmost respect here. We need to ensure that what we are doing is sustainable so that we can continue harvesting and we can continue A, having jobs, but B, we're going to have fish in our oceans for our children and their children to harvest and to enjoy. The ownership is on our generation now to take it as seriously as it needs to be taken. And without this body of water, none of us are going to be here.
You have an industry that's worth over $1.7 trillion annually. A third of the world's population is actually reliant on seafood as a source of protein. And small-scale fisheries makes up 60% of that industry.
One study found that 10 companies owned about a quarter of the IUU fishing boats reported globally.
The number one threat to their livelihoods is illegal fishing. There's these monster-sized vessels so far out at sea, just absolutely clearing the oceans. And that just takes away from guys who catch fish so sustainably.
The magnitude of impact that industry has on the oceans and the planet is enormous. And the nature of it is not something that we truly understand yet.
It's easy to deceive the consumer about what they are purchasing, and without proper traceability, you don't really know what you're consuming, where it comes from.
Seafood fraud is perhaps one of the most fraudulent items that consumers are coming into contact with regularly.
How do we take this really undeveloped small-scale fishery and put it on more of a global platform, and how do we grow it? How do we digitize it? How do we bring it forward?
The only way to obtain that better understanding is through more transparency, and we really believe that technology is a way to achieve that transparency.
How's the season been so far?
Yeah, this is one of the best seasons since for the 15 years I've been in the industry. I think this is actually the best season I've experienced.
So we can walk through some of the findings so far.
So your biggest fans are these three boats, right? Christina, Prospector, and the Hardline boats. They absolutely love this. They just want to know what's the next step on the app. They love it.
Seafood Souq is a tech company founded to help build a better blue economy. We've been using digital tools that increase transparency and create efficiencies in the seafood supply chain. Yeah, I think the really interesting change that we've witnessed in the last 6 years has been the awareness and the understanding of the need for technology in the industry. Technology was something that was sort of seen as maybe a nice to have, something new, something they didn't understand, and probably something that came at an additional cost. The industry across the board is beginning to understand the place that technology holds in the future of that industry.
Since I've come in, technology has gotten a lot better in terms of how we find the fish. Like we've got introduced with the Omni sonars now.
Yeah.
And I think they've made the biggest difference in our fishery. We're actually able to look a lot closer to the surface and see fish that we weren't seeing before with the traditional searchlight sonars.
You've seen the logbook and used the logbook so far. Any other ideas or things that you'd like to see in the future that maybe the logbook can do, or additional types of tech that could help?
Yeah, I mean, if everything could be digital, it would be really nice. If we could get all of our catch returns and everything to go through the logbook, that would be really nice. Save a lot of work on all sides, I think.
Looking at it from the fisherman's side, they're very scared of something being put in front of them that's going to confuse them. So to see that it was so easy to use, but makes life simpler, it's a win-win. And the fact that they can openly talk to you when they need to, when they get stuck, that doesn't happen. Like, you're not going to get that with anyone else. And, you know, we've made this the input of information spit out the exact document that they need to give to authorities in South Africa, whereas any off-the-shelf product doesn't give you that.
My team and myself, we've built the e-logbook based on the current process that fishermen have been facing to meet regulatory requirements, where they had to take these huge A3 logbooks with them on board, paper-based logbooks. And whenever they do a fishing event or when they catch their fish, they have to log every single detail. Our job when we build technology is to make it seamless, to make it simple. We work with the process instead of working against the process or introducing new barriers so people can adopt it easily.
It's much easier to use the app than to do that on paper?
100%. Takes away a lot of carrying a lot of books and filling a lot of paperwork. It's all at a touch of a button. The size books that this app has taken away is incredible. I mean, we used to carry massive books, A3 books, to fill in all the documentation of position of fish captured, position of bait captured, fish species and all that stuff. I mean, you can imagine how big the books have to be to fill in all the documentation from a day's fishing.
Just having the logbook developed with a fishery, having expertise in hand, was very crucial.
For me, it was just looking at what's happening in the rest of the world and the demand for traceability. And the only way to be truly traceable is to digitize things, because manual stuff can easily be changed. So I was looking at the paperwork the vessels are doing, and with all my interactions, because I see them when they do the offloads and as a part of the MSC process, I wanted good chain of custody with our products, looking at all the paperwork we had to get from them. It was just so much. And I was thinking, how can we speed this up for the fishermen while they're at sea, for government with the processing, make it more digital also, just so that there's less corruption of information.
Reality is sustainability is not really black or white. It's more of a process, and you need to have data in place to understand the impact that you're having, whether that's looking at the supply chain and from different angles, such as conservation status, you're looking at certifications, you're looking at all the journey itself, but without having this visibility ultimately, as a fishery, you don't have the data in place to pass it on to your trader, your processor, and so forth. And as a buyer, it's ideal for you to have all the traceability of the supply chain of the products you are purchasing to ultimately know what you're doing and if you're sourcing more responsibly and if those match your sustainability goals as a company.
We can tell them what day it was caught, by which vessel, exactly where. We can tell them the story of the vessel, who owns the vessel, the whole history behind the vessel. As deep down as the buyer wants to go, we'll trace the entire product down to the vessel.
Yeah, working with Michelle has been amazing because she has this vision of how she could help her people, her team do better. And she's not afraid to be innovative and to bring new solutions to the place. And I think she also trusts the work that we do, and that's key. And she's also part of it. Collaboration is everything, and we're very lucky to have the right partner to start with. And we're hoping that she inspires and we can inspire others to also be a part of this project.
So we got feedback and we kept iterating on it, getting more feedback, getting more ideas from the fishermen, who are the end users of the app and of the actual paper-based logbook.
So when we look at the e-logbook that we've built and the challenges around traceability at source level of small-scale fisheries, what we've done in South Africa is really just the start and the genesis of a product that we believe we can take around the world to all small-scale fisheries. So it's the start of a massive journey, actually.